This is Alicia Turner. She is 45 years old and works as a home health aide. Caring and dedicated, she spends her days helping those in need. And this is William Hargrove. He is 78 years old. A retired businessman, William has faced health challenges in recent years and lives alone. Today's story is about how their paths crossed, how care turned into connection, and how a $2.5 million inheritance would change everything. Welcome to the watching. Make sure to subscribe. This is Alicia Turner. She is 45 years old and works as a home health aide. Known for her caring nature, she has spent years helping those in need, dedicating herself to the people she looks after. She isn't wealthy, nor does she seek recognition. Her work is driven by compassion. This is William Hargrove. He is 78 years old, a retired businessman who spent his life building his career and providing for his family. In recent years, his health declined. A serious accident left him partially paralyzed, and he became dependent on others for daily tasks. His children, preoccupied with their own lives, visited only occasionally. Alicia and William met when she was hired to assist him at his home. From the first day, Alicia showed patience, kindness, and attention to detail. She learned his routines, remembered his preferences, and slowly brought warmth and human connection into his life. Over time, their relationship grew beyond a professional one. William appreciated her care and company, and Alicia found fulfillment in helping someone who had few people to rely on. This connection, however, would eventually put her in a situation she could never have imagined, involving family conflict, greed, and a substantial inheritance. For the next 3 years, Alicia's life became intertwined with William's. She helped him with meals, medical care, and daily routines. Each day, she spent hours by his side, ensuring he was comfortable, safe, and not alone. Their bond grew naturally. William began sharing stories of his past, his successes and regrets, and Alicia listened. She treated him with respect and compassion, not as an employer or client, but as a human being deserving care and dignity. William, who had experienced loneliness and loss, came to rely on Alicia not just physically, but emotionally. Her presence gave him reassurance, laughter, and a sense of normalcy. Over time, their connection deepened, built on trust and mutual respect. It was clear that Alicia's role went far beyond professional duties. She was someone William trusted implicitly, someone who brought meaning back to his days. In return, she found satisfaction in her work and in the bond they shared. As William's health progressed, he made plans for the future. He wanted to ensure that Alicia, the person who had cared for him selflessly, would be recognized for her devotion. William updated his will to leave her a significant inheritance, $2.5 million, along with ownership of his home and assets. This decision was made carefully and legally, reflecting his gratitude for the years of care Alicia had provided. However, William's children were unhappy when they learned of the new will. They expected to inherit the estate and were not prepared for Alicia to be named as the primary beneficiary. Their disappointment soon grew into resentment. They began discussing ways to challenge the will. Legal action, manipulation, and intimidation were considered as possible methods to prevent Alicia from receiving the inheritance. The stage was set for conflict, as what had been a story of care and devotion became entangled in family disputes. William's children started planning actively to protect their perceived claim to the estate. They spoke with lawyers, examined the will, and sought any loophole that could allow them to contest the inheritance. The family's frustration escalated. They believed Alicia did not deserve the fortune, arguing that she was merely a caretaker and should not benefit from their father's estate. Their actions were motivated by a mix of greed, pride, and a sense of entitlement. Despite the tension, Alicia remained unaware of the extent of the opposition. She continued to care for William as she always had, trusting him and unaware of the storm brewing among his children. This period marked the beginning of a significant divide. The family's interference gradually introduced threats, both legal and personal, creating an atmosphere of conflict that would eventually turn dangerous. As months passed, the family's plans became more aggressive. Legal challenges were filed, questioning the validity of William's decisions. Threats were made in subtle and indirect ways, designed to intimidate Alicia without directly confronting her. Meanwhile, Alicia continued her care. She remained devoted and patient, unaware that her kindness and dedication were being met with hostility. William, while appreciative of her, became concerned about his children's growing anger and the potential consequences for Alicia. The situation escalated beyond legal disputes. The family considered measures to prevent Alicia from claiming the inheritance at all costs, including intimidation and coercion. This tension introduced a growing sense of unease into what had previously been a stable and trusting environment. The family's opposition evolved into a more serious threat. They began discussing ways to ensure Alicia could not inherit under any circumstances. Their anger and resentment drove them to consider extreme measures. During this time, Alicia remained focused on her role. She assisted William with daily care, meals, and companionship, unaware that the family's plans were growing increasingly dangerous. This period of the story highlights the stark contrast between Alicia's devotion and the family's greed. While Alicia acted selflessly, the family's actions were motivated purely by wealth and entitlement. The tension and stakes were increasing, and the situation was becoming increasingly precarious for everyone involved. Eventually, the family's interference culminated in a violent act. Plans were set in motion to remove Alicia as a threat to the inheritance. Their actions escalated from legal challenges and intimidation to a criminal level. Alicia, unaware of the danger, continued her daily care. The family's actions were deliberate and calculated, intended to prevent her from claiming the $2.5 million inheritance. This moment represented the highest tension in the story, where devotion and greed collided. Alicia's safety was directly threatened, and the story reached a critical turning point that would determine the ultimate outcome of the inheritance dispute. After the abduction, law enforcement became involved. Investigators uncovered evidence linking the family to the crime, including communications, planning, and involvement of accomplices. The investigation revealed the extent of the family's actions and the lengths they were willing to go to prevent Alicia from inheriting. Evidence included documentation, correspondence, and testimonies that exposed the calculated nature of the crime. Authorities worked to piece together the full sequence of events. The investigation brought clarity to the situation, highlighting both Alicia's innocence and the family's culpability in endangering her life. The case moved to court. The family members involved faced charges related to intimidation, abduction, and conspiracy to prevent inheritance. Testimonies, evidence, and legal arguments were presented to establish the events that had transpired. The proceedings revealed the stark contrast between Alicia's devotion and the family's greed. While Alicia had acted selflessly, the family's actions were motivated solely by wealth and a sense of entitlement. The court's findings resulted in convictions and legal consequences for the family members involved. Justice was served, though the outcome for Alicia and the inheritance remained complex. In the end, Alicia was unable to claim the inheritance due to the criminal actions taken against her. The $2.5 million estate, and William's assets, were redirected to charity. The story demonstrates how devotion, care, and selflessness can be met with greed and hostility. Alicia's commitment to William stood in sharp contrast to the family's actions, illustrating the consequences of entitlement and the destructive power of wealth when combined with malice. This tale is a reflection on human nature, compassion, and justice. It reminds viewers of the value of integrity and the tragic outcomes that can result when greed overrides morality.